Hello to all the participants of the Katha group. I hope all you children are staying safe and within the confines of your home, and of course enjoying the time to the best possible extent. I'm here today to share with you a unique story. My name is Sunder Madakshira and I work with an IT company. And since childhood, I have been reading stories that are a part of our scriptures. And I can say safely that I have really been inspired a lot by the great stories that are there in our scriptures. So today I want to share with you a story of someone who is very unique. His name is Dhruva. And Dhruva's story appears in Bhagavata. As all of you would know, Bhagavata is a holy text like Ramayana and Mahabharata. Bhagavata is also one of the important texts where we have lovely stories and lovely lessons to learn from what happened in the past. It's about God and it is about devotees who have done great things and inspired us today. So today we will learn about one more inspiring story, that of a person by name Dhruva. Dhruva was a very young boy. He was just 5 years old. And one day, Dhruva went to meet his father. His father is Uttanapada. His name is Uttanapada. And he is a king. And he had two wives. One wife's name was Suruchi. And he had a son through her called Uttama. And he had another wife called Suniti. And her daughter, her son, is Dhruva. So Dhruva one day went to the court where Uttanapada was sitting on a throne. So all of you know, right? Kings used to sit on thrones, large, lovely chairs where they were presiding over the entire court. So one day Dhruva went to the court and he saw that Uttama was sitting on the king's lap. Uttama was also Uttanapada's son and he was sitting on his lap. So Dhruva ran to his father and he asked his father to carry him and let him sit on his lap. To which Suruchi, who is the mother of Uttama, she told him, no, you can't sit on the king's lap because you are not eligible. My son only can sit on the king's lap. Now Dhruva was very angry to hear this. He got very upset because he was not allowed to sit on his father's lap. So then from there, he, with a fit of anger, he then went and shared all his feelings with his mother, Suniti. Now here is the first lesson for all of us, which is that when we have trouble, we should share it with others, especially with our parents. And our parents will guide us how to overcome those challenges all our lives. So that's the first lesson that we learn, that we should, whenever we have problems, whenever we are in trouble, we should share it with our parents. So he shared it with his mother. And what his mother told him was, dear child Dhruva, don't cry. This has happened. It is very unfortunate. But you should go and solve this problem forever. Not by, fighting with your father or with Suruchi or with Uttama, but to go to the forest and pray God and ask him for whatever, how he can, what is the best thing that he can give you, and seek his favor. So here is a second lesson that we learn, that whenever we are in trouble, we should be talking to our parents. Second thing is we should take their advice and do what they ask us to do. Because whatever parents tell us, it is for our own good. It's not for their good. It is for our good that they give us the lessons. Then he start walking to the forest. And he's a young boy, just 5 years old. And as he goes to the forest, he meets Narada. Sage Narada, all of you would have seen Narada, right? He is always carrying a veena in his hand and always saying Narayan, Narayan, always reciting God's name. So he meets Narada and asks for Narada's help. Narada asked this boy, where are you going? He says, I am going to seek God. So I asked him, you're going to seek God. How will you achieve the God? So Dhruva says, I don't know. So he says, no, you should seek God by meditating, by praying to him. So Dhruva says, okay, I will pray to him. Then Narada says, do you know what prayer you should recite? He says, no. Then do you know where you have to recite it? He says, no. So he says, my dear child, if you don't know how to pray, how will you pray? To which Dhruva says, Lord Sri Narada, you are my teacher. Why don't you teach me how I should be praying to God? So this is the next story. That whenever we don't know how to solve a problem, we should ask people like our gurus, like our teachers, who will then guide us to how to do it. Without knowing something, we cannot obviously succeed. So for example, you are given a homework. If you don't know how to do the homework, will you be able to do it correctly? But you should ask your parents, you should ask your teachers for help, who will then guide you about how you should be doing. So this is what Narada did to Dhruva as well. So then Dhruva learned, then Narada taught him a very famous mantra called Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All of you would have heard this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And what he does is that he takes that, he learns that, and then he asks Narada, "O sage Narada, where should I go? And how should I do pray upon the Lord?" And Narada explains to him the place that he should go to. So learning all this, Dhruva thanks Narada, and he starts going to the place where he is supposed to, recite this. So he goes to the banks of river Yamuna, and then he sits on the floor, and then in the manner that has been taught to him by Narada, and starts to recite the shloka. Dhruva then starts reciting this shloka over and over again. But he's fasting. He's not eating much. So first he eats only dry leaves for a few months. God doesn't appear. Then he says, okay, I'm not going to eat a leaf every day. I'm going to eat a leaf once in a while. So he starts eating once in 2 days, once in 3 days, and once in a week. Finally, he gives up eating leaves altogether. He just survives on drinking water. Again, he's determined to meet the God. He drinks water for a few weeks and then does the prayer. After some time, he gives up water also. He's just dependent on breathing air, which itself is a sort of nutrition for him. But he's determined that no matter what happens, he will still attain God. And then he starts to breathe. And then he does that for months together. Finally, the gods themselves are so happy with him about his determination that they all go to Lord Vishnu and request Vishnu to come and meet Dhruva and give him whatever he is asking for. So Lord comes to where Dhruva is. So if you meditate on the God, if you believe in God, it might take some time, and you should do it patiently with determination. God definitely answers all our prayers if we do it with a pure heart. And all of you are young children. Your heart is very pure. So whatever you ask God, God will definitely bestow it to you. But you should have the determination. So God comes, and Dhruva is so astonished to see the Lord that he is hardly able to speak. So there, Lord Vishnu then picks up the Shankha, the Shankha, the conch shell, which is always cold. It's always cold. And he keeps it and touches his cheeks. And with that, the cold, when the cold thing hits your cheek, you move like this, right? So he gets that consciousness, and then he is able to look at God, and he starts praying to God. So God asks him, what do you want? He says, I do not want anything. I have seen you. After this, I have no interest left in anything. So he does not ask God for anything. the God himself decides to give him whatever he deserves and much, much more. So this is the next lesson. Never ask God for what he knows. God knows everything. So when do we ask somebody? When those people don't know, right? You go to a shop and just stand in front of a shop. Will the shop give you? The God will not. They will ask you, what do you want? So like that, but God is not like that. God knows exactly what we want and what we deserve, and he always gives it to us, whether we ask or we don't ask. So on that, he then gives it to Dhruva, agrees to give that, and then takes, and then thanking God, he starts coming back to his kingdom. When he's on his way back, the whole kingdom has come to know that he has seen God now. He's a very, very, very special person. He went as a 5-year-old boy, but within 6 months, he's coming back as a great devotee of God. So the whole, the whole kingdom is there to receive him. Like when India wins a match, the entire country will go to the airport to receive the winning team. It's like that. But then who is the first person to receive him? Is Suruchi, his stepmother, who had actually scolded him earlier. Today she's coming with all the love. She has known that she has made a mistake. His father has known that he has also made a mistake. So they are very repentant, and they receive him and make him the future king of the world. He has got everything that he wanted, and through his sheer determination and boldness, he has achieved whatever he wants. So that is the story of Dhruva. Again, I would like to repeat the lessons that we have learned. The first one is, whenever we are in some kind of trouble, it could be anything, we should be sharing it with someone so that they can guide us about what we want to, what we should be achieving. Second, we should always seek a higher goal. All of us look at, okay, can I get a chocolate today, or shall I do something? Or in Corona times, we are always saying, okay, can I just go out and play for 10 minutes? If you go out, there is a problem that you might catch an infection. So you have to wait. So always look at a higher goal, higher purpose. After you grow old, what do you want to be? Do you want to be the Prime Minister of India? Do you want to be the captain of the Indian cricket team? Do you want to win an Olympic gold? Do you want a Nobel Prize? Do you want to be the President of India, or you want to be a famous doctor saving many lives? You should set up big goals so that you can achieve it, which is what Dhruva did. The third thing is, whenever we achieve something, whenever we want to go and achieve something, you should learn the method. Dhruva also learned the method of approaching God and trying and attaining him. So he learned that from Guru. So the Guru is like a coach. In sports, we have coaches. In school, we have sports teachers who teach us how to play a game. So when playing a game needs to be taught, everything else also needs to be taught at the same time. Now, we can succeed only when we have the determination. That is what we learn from Dhruva's story. No matter what happens, we should be determined. We should not be worried about the challenges. We should not get sad when we don't achieve the results immediately. No result comes to us immediately. We look at a big tree and say, oh my God, such a big tree. We look at a cricket captain and say, oh, look at Virat Kohli, look at what he has achieved. Did all that happen overnight? No. It has come after a lot of effort that is there. So you have to make that effort to ensure that you reach your chosen goal. So these are the great lessons that we find from a young boy who is just 5 years old. And if we can learn some of these principles in our life, we'll be very, very successful. So I wish all of you a wonderful life ahead, and may all of you be happy and safe and healthy. So all the best, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.